Wait, PragerU has a new series called Marxism.
Why does anyone still care about?
Wait, is this on YouTube? The alt-right movement has succeeded. I think the alt-right movement is not new, but is rooted in like Reaganism, like being a Reagan stance. So I think it's man.
That's
Where could you even go to escape American imperialism? It doesn't matter, but you can go to countries that at least have a little bit better care for their own citizens, which is a step in the right direction because eventually that breeds class consciousness to a bigger. I mean, you hope it does, right? Unless they dull the masses, right? Do you think you'd ever leave? 100%. I'm gonna leave. Sheer and I will probably go to Australia at some point. Yeah. I just hope the entire world can combat the rise of fascist U.S. We have to retreat and regroup. I don't know. We don't know. Isn't Australia pretty far? No, not in comparison to America. They also just had elected Labor. Why Australia? That is where Shira is from, my girlfriend. She's from Australia. Europe will follow the US in lockstep? Maybe. I think all it takes is a radical movement in America, like a truly radical movement, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we know for sure. It's on YouTube. Okay, let's watch this. PragerU Marxism, a series.
Why does anyone still care about Marxism?
Because it's a forever perpetuating thing. Class consciousness is very important.
Karl Marx has been dead for well over a century.
Okay.
Everywhere Marxism has been tried, it has left death and destruction in its wake. In fact, nothing in the last 1,000 years comes close to the amount of tyranny, terror, and mass murder brought about by Marxist regimes.
Except for capitalist regimes. But okay.
Yet Marxism lives. It may present itself today as postmodernism, multiculturalism, feminism, environmentalism, or critical race theory.
Dog, what?
But it's still Marxism.
Okay.
So, there must be good reasons why it has endured, even flourished.
My man just discovered intersectionality. Yes, there's a reason a lot of those movements have intersectionality with like Marxist or leftist is because equality, dog. It's almost like all these movements hope for equality.
In the face of unremitting,
be it equality of gender and gender roles or how we treat the environment.
failure. Say what you will about Marx the economist. He was a master psychologist.
What?
He recognized that there are many people in every society who are motivated by envy and resentment.
Okay, and we have a system that rewards them, right? It's called capitalism. Rewards the greed of you abusing someone else. You use that envy and resentment and turn that into greed.
He speaks directly to them. He tells them that their responsibility for the misery in their lives belongs to the capitalist system.
It does.
If we can just get rid of that, he promises, we can eliminate poverty, inequality, exploitation, class conflict, war, and alienation.
Okay.
Not a bad list if you're looking to start a revolution.
Okay.
But there's more.
He's going to be like, but no. The argument, I'm ready. Are you ready? The argument is going to be like, but no. And then he's just going to move the fuck on.
Marxism assures us that this socialist utopia is close at hand,
Maybe
available to all, not in some distant future or in the next life, but here and now. All we have to do is...
Well, Marx realized that it was only possible because of the Industrial Revolution, that excess had become such a giant thing post-Industrial Revolution or during the Industrial Revolution that, yes, socialism was something that could only be actualized, or not socialism, but communism, was something that could only be actualized now. Yes.
Overcome one little obstacle, human nature. Marx
Is empathy not human nature as well, just as much as greed is?
expressed his deepest views on this subject in his economic and philosophical manuscripts of 1844. They can be summed up in one phrase: the enemy of being is having.
What?
In other words, the desire to own things makes you a bad person. However, you're not to blame. The blame
At the expense, bro, there's a big line missing. At the expense of others.
belongs to capitalism. The most common interpretation of Marx's philosophy suggests that he opposed capitalism because it creates an unjust world of inequality, exploitation, and class.
You're telling me Marx was based? Wait, you're telling me Marx knew what the you're telling me he observed reality? No shot, dog. No way.
Conflict. Marxism, according to this view, is all about equalizing income and social status. This is true, but it doesn't go far enough.
Wait, what?
Marx saw the accumulation of material wealth as dehumanizing. The more money and material possessions one acquires, the more estranged one is from his true humanity.
And this is true, right? That's why Marxist philosophy exists and why Marxism is a study and people expanded on it, right? Because we don't agree with that. Like, I mean, most leftists don't agree that like you can lose humanity just because you have things. But we do believe that like having all the commodities, hence why America is so good at like neoliberal brain rot, is because it can dull you to your material conditions. But eventually you can't have things if you can't afford things. And the more and more people who can't afford things leads to revolution, right? So.
And what was that? In the philosopher's socialist paradise, one gets to eat, drink, and go to the theater free of charge and without having to earn a living.
It's not, dog, no, because those are all things that are, you do get to eat. Yes, because, you know, you're human. But going to the movie would be you using your excess labor value that you generated to buy a movie ticket, which then splits amongst the workers of the movie. And the wealth is not lost. The value is not lost. It is purely circulated, but no one can accumulate it because the workers divide it evenly. Yes, some industries will see higher wealth. Yes, they will. Things like food and whatever. But the most workers will be food, meaning that they will have the most money in it to divide it. More people will be doing better evenly. More people overall will have a higher quality of life.
Best of all, you get to do it without the guilt of being a moocher. All you have to do...
Because you aren't. You aren't. You worked for it.
...is enjoy yourself. Or, as Marx put it, you can do one thing today and another tomorrow. Hunt in the morning, fish in the afternoon, and rear cattle in the evening. Yes, rear cattle in the evening. That's how in touch Marx was with reality. But who cleans out the sewers?
There's a metaphor, dog. How do you combat this talking point? All people will earn the same income. All people who do the same job will earn the same income because you're generating the same value. Yes, that is socialist philosophy. That's not... Marx didn't... I mean, he kind of goes into depth about that, right? Talking about factory workers. But that's more so like how you get there and allow material conditions to rise and how you take a step into communism if you want, right? Is like... I use this example all the time. If I'm a letter opener and you're a letter opener and we do the same amount of work, we deserve the same amount of pay. There is nothing about you that inherently makes you more valuable than me or your labor more valuable than mine. If we are doing the same job, we get paid the same, right? We generate the same value. Like obviously, like in utopia, you would get all of your value back that you generated. But let's say even in capitalism, right? Let's move towards like a social democracy or whatever. You would get paid the same as the person who does the same job. That's not how it works in our society. In our society, we deem random characteristics or personal life of the other person or location, which is like suburbia is like a giant anti-equality thing. Suburbia in America is literally anti-equality, okay? You know, or gender or race or anything will allow you to pay someone less, or class, right? The class they were born into, because someone who's poor will take less than you to have something, right? Meaning You deserve the same rate as someone who does the same labor. Okay? Always. Rate. That means if I want to go above and beyond, I work extra hours. I will make more money than that other person, but I also put in more labor. I generated more value. Okay? So you technically could use that surplus value to then, like, I don't know, buy a house, a $3 million mansion. It doesn't matter. Whatever. A fucking Taycan. It doesn't matter. The point is that you could generate that extra value and then you have it. And you're entitled to that because you did. The point is, though, that the person next to you has the freedom to do the exact same thing. That's all. The person next to you has the freedom to do the exact same thing, but also if they don't want to work or generate any value, they won't die because they have value as a human, right? So I was having this convo with my partner. Who will decide how much secretary earns compared to a doctor at the same hospital? Workers. So what'll happen is workers how workers decide. You have a council, a union, right? You have a doctors union and you have a nursing union, and they vote how much their labor is worth, and then they take that and they meet with the hospital unions, a overarching idea, who then divvies up how much each person's labor would be worth, right? That's how it functions in like there's like collectives like Mondragon, right? It's like a giant collective. They've had their problems, but like as an example of like kind of how like mass unionization of different sectors can all work together to determine value of them, right? So that's how it goes. Yeah. Yeah, you can also cap the wage differences. By the way, like a doctor does not generate more value than a farmer. Both are the same value to society. They are. One provides your food, one protects your health. They provide the same value to society. They do. Because if you don't have a doctor, you die. If you don't eat, you die. The same thing, could any of your basic needs, those people, you could have a union called the Basic Needs Union, right? You need food more than a doctor, to be honest. Yeah, but still, like theoretically, right? You could pay a doctor the same as a farmer, and it would be fair. Doctors are harder to get, so it's value by scarcity. That's the system that we have set up in America. Yes, the system in America, yes. But yeah, also still, yeah, doctors probably deserve a little bit more because like it does take more time to become a doctor. But in America, like medical school and all that shit is a farce. Like that shit was created purely because they want you to stay in college to generate as much debt as possible to keep the college machine running. Barrier of entry? Yeah, it's harder. Yeah. Communism is classist, stateless. Yeah, we're talking about socialism. Yeah. We're talking about like Marxist, I guess, things and like why this isn't true. Communism is like utopian, right? No one is like, I don't think anybody truly believes will ever live in communism, right? Because it would be impossible. That is something that requires everyone to get on board. Socialism is obtainable. It is a world in which all the workers are unionized. Everyone's a co-op, remember? Everybody's a co-op. So that's why I tried to explain, but I think I got lost in nuance and came across as saying one person is more valuable than another, which I know is wrong. So workers are collectively decide that their value of their labor is worth. Yes. I'm also like, man, I don't know how to word this, but like some things are more valuable purely because they take more time to do or get into, or the value generated is less, right? For example, like a doctor is more important than like a cook, right? In the sense that like, yeah, they get paid more because, or maybe a cook's a bad example or whatever, because a cook can like learn to become a cook quicker and there's a little less risk. There is risk, right? A risk of people feeling it, right? Because we're not arguing for like everyone makes the same exact money and value and labor is all the same, right? Yeah, it's a lot easier to cook on average, right? Marx talked about this, by the way. It is what did he call it? Your oh man, he had a name for it. Oh, he had a name for the value called the value generated. Oh, I not surplus labor value. He had another name for it. Oh fuck, I can't think of the name of it right now. you generate high quality time or something. I forget what it's called. High quality value or something like that. Mehrwerte, but in German. Yeah, I don't remember. Okay. He had a name for it. Essentially, it just means that like doctors are crucial. There will be a lot less doctors, therefore they will make more. But if you were to like break it down and imagine the same amount of doctors and the same amount of farmers, if you could like divide the numbers, it would be even, right? It would be even. It's just that there's less doctors, so the wealth, the value generated is more towards the doctors. Is that why they say it's rude to ask other people's income because they don't want to break the facade of value in a capitalist society? Well, yeah, of course. They don't want you to know that they're giving you value less for no actual reason, right? The reason they don't want you to talk to like the other fast food worker is because you can be making $2 more because you're white or because you're a man, right? Yeah, sure, Lionel. I don't know. Socially necessary labor, maybe. Yeah, I don't remember. It's been like what 3 months since I read that. I don't know. Labor theory of value. Okay, well, let's see if he has it in here. He had a word about it, but I can't remember what it's called. But it was very good. He described the phenomenon I'm talking about. Snalt? I've never heard of that. What the fuck is snalt? Is that it? No shot, right? What the fuck is snalt?
Dirty jobs that keep a society.
I gotta pee really quick. Okay. I mean, armchair, it's all basics. The only reason we're going deep into it is because like you just think about it. It's just logic shit. Like it doesn't really matter, right? Like it's just critical thinking, right? Like I'm not being profound. I promise.
Functioning. Ironically, in the evil capitalist society, the sewer cleaner freely chooses to take on his job. In the socialist paradise, coercion is almost always required.
Wait, what? No, it's not. Wait, I mean, also, like, Noam Chomsky talks about this, but, like, the person freely chooses to do this. Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? No, they don't. It's, capitalism is exactly coercion. It's literally the opposite. The reason people would do this in socialism is because they get paid very fucking well, right? Because we've deemed as a society, together, collectively, that they deserve to be paid very well.
Chooses to take on his job. In the socialist paradise, coercion is almost always required. Marx never bothered with such messy details. He left that to others. Unfortunately, those others always turn out to be megalomaniacs, like what? Lenin, Stalin, Mao, Castro, Pol Pot, and
Based.
Hugo Chavez.
Based.
They were the ones who brought Marx to life and in the process caused tens of millions to suffer and die.
Yes. Communism, death toll, 7 gazillion, bajillion. Bro, it's the real Avengers.
Contrary to Marx's claims, work freely chosen brings both money and dignity.
Yeah.
Furthermore,
it does.
Most people work best when they pursue their own self-interest.
Yes, Leshel.
An idea Marx despised.
Wait, what?
To him, self-interest turns everyone into Ebenezer Scrooge, greedy, grasping, and unfeeling.
It does, because self-interest is wrong. That's individuality. Yes, individualism is bad. That doesn't mean you're not your own individual. Of course not. That doesn't mean you have your own inspirations, but in socialism is the only way you'll ever get to actualize any of your own inspirations. For the majority of people, I should say.
Only is money, that is capital, inherently corrupting, but the acquisition of it can't be done honestly or fairly. The rich got rich by exploiting the worker. What? For Marx, there's no other possible explanation.
That is the only explanation. It's not for Marx. It's for literally all like any economist. Every economist knows that the only value generated is by workers. That is like economics 101. The only people who generate value are workers. Yes.
For many today, There is no other possible explanation.
Of course not. Now give me an explanation then.
For these people, Marx offers a philosophical justification for their anger, even their rage. From generation to generation, the formula never varies. Only by bringing the privileged down can the underprivileged be brought up.
That's true. This is kind of true, right? Is that you do have to get rid of the wealthy, yes. But you meet in the middle. Like, this is wrong. This is wrong, right?
Only bringing the privileged down.
You would just meet, and everyone's like, these people wouldn't be living in luxury or like extreme abundance, right? Surplus, but they would be even. They would be in the middle class. Yeah.
Down can the underprivileged be brought up. The venom that pours out of Marx's pen stems ultimately from
the venom, bro. Are you a poet or an economist, dog? Or a fucking, what are you? Come on.
Fact that reality wouldn't conform to his worldview. It never seems to have occurred to him that people are complex beings with different talents, ambitions.
That's why he wrote this. Wait. Oh my God, this guy's so disingenuous. The reason Marx wrote this is purely because he knew people were individual, and the only way they would get to actualize their individuality is if they didn't have the stress of having to work or die. Oh my God, this is so fucking cucked. Oh shit.
Do not come.
Yo, Donato, thank you. Thank you for all the subs today, by the way, chat.
Venom enjoyer.
And desires. It may be more accurate to say he didn't care. If people wouldn't conform to his worldview voluntarily, then the state would just have to use other methods of persuasion.
But who's the state in Marx's world? The workers, you fucking dumb bitch. Because the workers own the means of the production. Therefore, there is no state without the workers. Democracy, you dumb bitch.
Like murder and terror. It all made
sense.
sense.
Murder, historically never happens under capitalism. Remember when we melted, I don't know, thousands and thousands of people all over the world with predator drones in search of WMDs, and by WMDs we mean oil.
To the philosopher as he toiled away in a corner of the British Museum.
What's up, Dave?
Or in his squalid London apartment. What is astonishing is that millions came to believe him. What is tragic is that millions more suffered and died because they did. What is scary is that millions continue to believe. I'm Brad Thompson, professor of political science at Clemson University, for Prager University.
Political. This is your brain on political science. Well, not true, because there's like a lot of political science people who are base as fuck, but how is this guy a professor at Clemson? Like, bro, what?
Remarkably short.
That's one thing I've noticed about like the Ivy League school is they're all capitalists as fuck. There ain't no fucking Marxist.
Period of time. The philosophy of Karl Marx changed the course of history. At the height of its power, half the world fell under its dominion, kept there by a combination of fear, terror, and brute force.
Okay.
Then suddenly, in the late 1980s, it imploded.
Clemson's not Ivy at all? Yeah, but it's considered like a, what, junior Ivy or some shit? Or whatever. Clemson's pretty respected school, right?
By all rights, this should have been the end of Marxism.
I thought it was. I thought Clemson was pretty respected. Like it's like a like I guess the equivalent would be like Stanford, right? Wait. Clemson Institute for the Study of Capitalism? What the fuck is this cringe shit? Oh my God. The fun for okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It's a state school. Duke maybe? Okay. Yeah, Duke's decent. I thought Clemson was fine. I thought like Clemson, it was not cheap to go to either. I had a football coach from Clemson. It's fine, but not upper echelon. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was like better than like most schools, but it's definitely not bad and not as bad as Arizona State. Listen, don't say that about Arizona State. Okay, I got chatters who went there.
But it hasn't turned out that way. From environmentalism with its rejection of free market.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking of Clemson. I don't know what I'm thinking of. I always thought Clemson was like a decent school.
To critical race theory, which sees white patriarchy as the source of all evil, you'll find Marxism at its root.
Okay.
The leaders of Black Lives Matter.
I mean, it's not the root of all evil, but it perpetuates the evil, right? I mean, that's what patriarchy is observation of the fundamental existence of these systems still perpetuating.
For example, openly acknowledge their devotion to Marxist ideology. How do we explain this fascination for something that has so utterly failed everywhere it's been put into practice? We can find answers in one of Marx's most enduring
Bro, I hate this dude's haircut. Holy fuck. This dude looks like he sexed minors.
Each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. Marx was a poor economist, but a talented journalist. The only actual job he ever had. He knew how to turn a phrase. But what does this slogan even mean? According to what ability? According to what need? And who?
Tell me you've never read. Well, bro, he's literally a professor of political science. There's no way he hasn't read Marx. Like, this has to be a grift, right?
Determines anyone's ability or anyone's need. Marx never bothered to answer these obvious.
Wait, what? That's all of Capital, bro. What are you talking about? The entirety of Capital explains this. Oh, fuck.
Questions. He had much bigger things on his mind. Nothing less than the creation of an entirely new kind of world for an entirely new kind of human being.
Wait, what?
Marx believed that by altering man's economic and political institutions, he could alter, or even better, rewire the human brain. He could conjure
no, just Western brains.
A new consciousness that would replace the old false one. This new man.
I think there's a lot of people that understand the evils of capitalism, but just don't give a shit because they think people are worth more than other people. No, they think it's just capitalism. It's crony, right? Does that make sense? Like they'd be like, oh, it's not real capitalism. Like, we fucked up. America's not really capitalist. Like, it's just crony capital. Like, it's not real. It's not the real version of capitalism, right? And they're not worth the risk. They think the risk of going to socialism far, far outweighs the benefits, but there is no fucking risk. That risk was created by capitalism. When you go to socialism, all of the fucking risk that goes with going to socialism is the capitalist countries around you wanting to kill you because you show a better world, right? It's like, I can't have people seeing a better world because then my people will revolt. That is the reason that we shut off the USSR, Cuba, and everything, is because if people see that they can have better material conditions and own the means of production, if people realize that they can like have power in that, like everyone collectively, venture capitalists lose money because no one becomes the sole owner more. Sole proprietorship is gone, and that's good. That's good. Or the abolition of private property, right? I think the dude knows better. He's reading a script he probably didn't write that he broadly agrees with for a check. Yeah, I probably had to guess.
And would be less selfish and acquisitive.
Didn't the existence of the USSR literally trigger a spike in unions, massive improvement of quality for life in the West? Yeah, I mean, it also triggered the invention of SOCDEM Europe, which was good in the beginning, but was created as a stop of communism to like quell the masses, essentially breed like what's it called when you're like subdued, right? It was meant to like breed there's a word for it, like when you're like content, right? There we go. It was meant to breed content, which allowed for the erosion of it because America, or complacency, yeah, because it allowed America then to grow our neoliberal fucking brain rot and ideology, so much so that now Europe will never be left. I mean, we made sure.
And more altruistic and communal. In short, he would be a superior type of man.
But it didn't make it all the way because, like, Ireland, for example, it didn't make it all the way. I think Ireland is like the last, maybe Portugal too. Those are like Western holdouts where I think there's potential for big left movements. I think Portugal and Ireland have potential for big ass left movements. Considering Portugal, one of their biggest parties are fucking like straight up communist. So,
of course, this new man could only reach this goal if he wasn't preoccupied with having to earn money. According to Marx, money and the pursuit of it ruined everything. Marx hated.
But it did. It literally does. For the majority of people, it does. Because the majority of people, their greed will never lead to anything.
money, maybe because he never found a way to make it. Getting rid of it was central to his worldview. Once a person's subsistence, one's daily bread,
Dog, he didn't need to make it. He had a sugar daddy.
Distributed on the basis of need rather than greed, man's natural communal affections, long suppressed by his capitalist overlords, would be renewed.
Okay, Pog.
This is Marx channeling the 18th century French social thinker Jean-Jacques Rousseau, one of the few people Marx admired. According to Rousseau, this is...
Marx admired a ton of people. You know who Marx admired the most out of anyone? Workers. Marx wrote, literally, Marx wrote in Capital that like his ideas were not his ideas. They were the ideas of workers before him, and he was purely putting into words what the workers had been saying for years, right? Like Marx liked normal people a lot.
What you must do if you want to create a new society. He who dares to undertake the making of a people's institutions must feel himself capable of changing human nature, of transforming each individual who by himself is...
But Marx said he couldn't do this individually. There's action in solidarity, not action in individual. There's no such thing as individual.
Is a complete and solitary whole into part of a larger whole from which the individual receives his life and his being.
Wait, that was actually good. Okay. I didn't like the wording, but this is true. The movement starts with a person, like Marx, right? To say like, hey, listen, like we can have better lives. And then someone else will be like, hey, did you know we could have better lives? And it spreads. But you all agree together that the only way you can have a better life is if you do it together, right? You can't bring on a better life on your own.
Understand this.
Can we get this guy on stream to discuss theory? There's no shot. No fucking shot some PragerU fucking loser would come on my stream. No way.
And you understand not only a key feature of Marxist thought, but the dark history of the 20th century. Marx took Rousseau literally. Human nature had to be returned.
Portugal is struggling right now. The communists lost a lot of seats because they backed Russia like dumbasses. And CNN Portugal literally platformed a fascist during our Independence Day. They took a hit, but the Socialist Party got a majority rule. It's not perfect. Source and Portuguese. Yeah, maybe the Socialist Party is what I'm thinking of. I have a few Portuguese chatters, and I just know that Portugal like has active leftist movements. Like, that's it. What was this person's name? John Capitalism? I don't fucking know. I can't remember.
To its allegedly
He'll tell us at the end.
Selfless state before capitalism, with its enlightenment and Judeo-Christian values, corrupted him. But creating this new man would be a formidable task. Marx anticipated that many would object, especially the owners and managers that had a large stake in the capitalist system. Friendly persuasion wasn't going to get the job done. Only the ruthless application of state power would be up to the task. Marx was all for it. Private property, wage labor, competition in profits, these would have to go. The state, now run by the workers themselves, the dictatorship of the proletariat, as Marx called it, would
Wait. That wasn't Marx, I thought. I thought dictatorship of the proletariat didn't come till Lenin. I thought that was an idea perpetuated by Lenin for socialism. Did Marx say that? I don't know. I literally can't remember. Was it Marx or was it Lenin? That was Marx? Oh, Lenin was a Vanguard Party thing. There we go. Sorry. Brain broken.
Control production and pricing. It would wisely manage the economy from each according.
Oh, man. Was it? Okay, wait. I just got to Google it. I feel like I thought that was Lenin for sure, dog. I'm reading. The way that Lenin thought about it. Joseph Weidimer coined the term dictatorship of the proletariat, which then Marx and Engels adopted into their okay, I didn't know that. Cool. But Vladimir Lenin was the one who looked to organize a vanguard party which would carry out the action of a dictatorship of the proletariat. There we go. There we go. That makes sense. There we go. That is yeah. Marx and Engels talked about it. Yeah. Marx did not write much about the nature of the dictatorship of the proletariat. It was mainly Weidheimer, but I'm pretty sure that like because like I would credit like the most writing about that and how that functions to Lenin, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I thought Lenin was the one that like kind of really made that popular. So again, Lenin actually did the thing or organized for it. Yeah, I mean Lenin is a man. I think Lenin is more important as a Marxist than Marx. Well, okay, Marx like obviously set the foundation. You wouldn't have Lenin without Marx, but I just mean practicality, right? I think Lenin is much more like instrumental in realizing socialism. So did Mao. Mao agreed with that. So did like most people, right? Um, yeah, I think Lenin was much more instrumental in like actualizing. Stalin didn't appreciate him too much. Yet later in life, Stalin undid a lot of the good that Lenin did. Leninism, by definition, is a realistic application of Marxism, hence Marxist-Leninism. Yeah. I mean, Stalin is also like apparently a very good read. I've never read Stalin, but like apparently early Stalin is pretty important. Wait, so he actually published work on Marxism? Wait, he also has published a book, fucking Freedom of School Choice in American Education, Neoconservatism and Arbitrary, an Obituary for an Idea, Anti-Slavery Political Writings in 1833 through 1860, The Revolutionary Writings of John Adams in the Spirit of Liberty, Americans' Revolutionary Mind, A Moral History of the American Revolution, Declaration have defined it. Wait, what? Thompson has published essays on topics ranging from natural law theory to Marxism to progressive education and free market education. He's an occasional writer for the Times literary supplement of... cringe.
According to his ability, to each according to his needs. And imagine how wonderful it would be. No more ego, no more self-interest. Instead, everybody working for the benefit of everybody else. Peace, love, and harmony.
Yes.
For many, it's a
very... Wait, why is that not a good thing? I like how he just goes, that's what Marx advocated for. And that's evil. He wants you to draw the conclusion that that's bad.
Very seductive idea. Who wouldn't aspire to live in such a world? Look around, a Marxist might say. The powerful exploit the weak, crushing the majority's noble aspirations.
All right, what is the argument against this?
Your aspirations, just so they can have more. It's unfair and unjust. How much better if we just start over?
What if this guy's actually a Marxist? No, I'm just kidding.
Start clean. That's the Marxist socialist dream.
No, it's bro. Marx. Oh. Okay.
In real life, it's a nightmare. Needs become demands, and demands become...
I don't think... was Marx for violent... Well, I don't know. Who am I thinking of? Because there's like three different... Or a bunch of different ways, I guess. There's like three different ways people think the revolution can be actualized. Was it Luxemburg that wrote it would be a slow process with a quick turnaround? Meaning like... believed in like the least violent means. I think Marx believes in... Or no, Marx believed in appointing people and trying it too, right? But Marx believed in violent revolution. I can't remember. Someone believed the revolution would happen overnight. Someone believed that the revolution would be slow, and then there's like a bunch of theories that are in between, right? I feel like there was like a bunch of theories in between. But I do know that Luxemburg believed that the revolution would be like, it would start slow by implementing people who were like, by voting for people, and then it would happen. It would happen quickly. Once you have a base of socialism, the revolution would happen very quickly. He's very clearly a Nazi, no question. The communists disdain to conceal their views and aims. They openly declare that their ends can be obtained by the foreseeable overthrow of all existing social conditions. Let the ruling classes tremble at the communistic revolution. The proletarians have nothing to lose but their chains. They have a world to win. That is true. Base as fuck. Mao at one point thought that it could happen basically overnight, hence a great leap forward in the famine. Yeah. Some decades, weeks happen, and some weeks, decades happen. Yeah. I'm wondering there because there's a theory. We like took a test on stream, and it was like, how do you believe the revolution will happen? And it assigns that to a person that most closely aligns with their theory. So like Luxembourg, I'm pretty sure was like, the other one was like Trotsky. Okay, yeah, I remember now. There was like, do you think the revolution needs to be instigated like by force? Will it happen slowly? Do you believe in like a slow burn? Right? There was a bunch of different ways.
Rights.
Because like Marx didn't explicitly say
needs become demands, and demands become rights. The best are mocked, and the worst exalted. Innovation withers, while the government grows ever larger. Eventually, the productive become virtual slaves to the unproductive.
Yeah, but dog, how does the fucking government grow? Oh, I don't know, because more people become the government.
And the society collapses economically, intellectually, and morally. And then the real horror starts. If you think I'm exaggerating, just ask someone who...
Trotsky was transitioned from feudalism straight to socialism, right? Yeah, part of it, yeah.
Led the Soviet Union, or Cuba, or Venezuela. For all its risk and inequities, they prefer freedom.
Okay.
And we should too. I'm Brad Thompson, professor of political science at Clemson University for Prager University.
Bro, who are the people?
Okay. Engraved on Karl Marx's tombstone in Highgate Cemetery in North London are the following words. The philosophers have only interpreted the world in various ways. The point, however, is to change it. Substitute the word professor for the word philosopher. We really don't have philosophers anymore, and you get right to the core of Marx's enduring attraction to the contemporary world. Marx demands that the intellectual...
This is my teacher, no joke, no shot. You're fucking lying to me, Taquito. No shot, dog. Your teacher needs to fucking go outside, dog. Oh, but he needs to also get a haircut. You need to tell him he looks like a fucking Hitler Youth. Okay?
Class. The professors of law,
Also, chat, listen. Exclamation point disliked. Okay? Oh, this is my doctor. Okay.
Sociology, history, women's studies, anthropology, journalism, and so on, come out of the ivory tower and join the barricades to see themselves not
if you have another email
as the preservers of the dusty past, but the creators of a new and glorious future. The lure has proven to be very strong, and it's not hard to understand why. How much more meaningful, exciting, and romantic to see yourself as an agent of change rather than a mere academic. How much more meaningful, exciting, and romantic to see the young people who fill up your classroom as potential soldiers in the cause.
Because they are, dog. They're going to be workers. If someone is in your class, unless you're at like an Ivy League school, like, yes, they're going to be workers. They are soldiers of the cause. Listen, you make that sound like a fucking bad thing.
Send them into the world with the same revolutionary spirit.
Yes,
the same
do it.
Disgust toward bourgeois middle-class values that you feel, and you've done your job. And we must give these lecture hall revolutionaries their due. Look around. For the most part, they've succeeded. Drill into any current leftist...
What? What are you talking? Where? Bro, I don't see any Marxist revolutionaries. What are you talking about?
Movement, environmentalism, critical race theory, the massive expansion of the welfare state. Not to mention diversity, equity, and inclusion offices at every university.
Yeah, these are bad, notoriously bad offices. Never done anything. You know what? Let's just have whites-only universities now. Yep.
And a major corporation, and you will find Marxism at its core. A contempt of the Enlightenment and the Judeo-Christian value system from which
you just have to do the first 1 through 8.
Marx's most famous call to action, workers of the world unite, was not, of course, to the professoriate, but to the laboring class.
Yeah.
That didn't work out.
Wait, what?
So well. Workers.
Yeah, because historically, professors, college, okay, like this is true. Colleges in the way that we have them, like uni and like Oxford and stuff, was established by capitalists to have an elite club for capitalists, right? It was meant to be inaccessible. Marx saw that as fucked up. Like it should have been accessible.
especially in the United States, turned out to be more interested in refrigerators than
teachers are workers. Yeah. But Marx saw the professors as capitalist, or I guess like maybe not even Marx, but like it was pretty obvious that like Oxford and universities like that were established on the basis of capitalism, right? Meaning that that the only people going there were the rich, and the rich were hoarding.
at every university.
Yeah, these are bad, notoriously bad offices. Never done anything. You know what? Let's just have whites-only universities now. Okay.
Revolutions. Sure. The only barricade they were
it was a way to differentiate your class, right? Just like the church gate kept literacy, right?
Was a white picket fence in front of a green suburban lawn. Poor, benighted souls, the appeal of Marxism was somehow lost on them, maybe because they didn't go to college. But the intellectual class never lost faith, even after Stalin.
The intellectual class, yes. You mean, you fucking dumb cunt. Oh my God, this guy's a fucking piece of shit. Holy shit.
Even after Mao, even after Castro wrecked Cuba, even after Pol Pot murdered millions of his fellow Cambodians, even after Hugo Chavez destroyed the strongest economy in South America, the academic elite remained true believers. Indeed, in a world with...
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? I mean, the Marxist revolution did succeed in Europe in one part, and that's education, right? Marxism did infiltrate education. They did out the professors who were not truly like doing it. Like they kind of, the free college was like the worst idea for fucking Scandinavia and shit, like in Europe, right? Free college was like, well, now like you truly have Marxist professors, right? Also, like, here, it's so funny to me. Like most professors, the reason that they lean left is like they can critically think, meaning that they aren't just going to accept, oh, wait, you mean this country fell because they're socialist? Wait, what do you mean we had Wait, you mean there was a 3-letter agency there? Wait, what do you mean? They just fell? Because for no reason? You mean they just dissolved because of no reason? Oh, okay.
Without faith, where God is dead, Marxism has become, in effect...
Yeah, because God is cringe, you fucking loser.
...a substitute religion. One of the major strengths of Marxism, in contrast to both modern liberalism and conservatism, is the unyielding commitment of its followers to this faith, to bear witness to it, and to act on it. It summons these followers to join a crusade to destroy the evil that is capitalism and to create the good that is communism. In our secular world, the Marxist ideal gives the Marxist true believer a reason to live, a reason to die, and a reason to kill. Monsters like Lenin, Stalin, Mao, Kim Il-sung, Ho Chi Minh, and Pol Pot.
Bro, I like how half of these are like, yeah, fucked up people, dog. Yeah, Stalin did some fucked up shit later in his life. Like Kim Il-sung, he was a capitalist. Pol Pot, CIA asset. Ho Chi Minh was based as fuck. What the fuck do you mean? Dog, how can you put Ho Chi Minh on this list? Ho Chi Minh in fucking Vietnam wrote a letter and was like, listen, any Americans wanting to come to Vietnam, you'll know that we love you and we appreciate you. Your government is just doing something extremely fucked up. We're only killing American soldiers because we have no choice. He wrote that. There's a letter. Oh, man, we have to find it.
For the record, the latter two were politically educated in France. Pol Pot studied at the Sorbonne. If you think I'm exaggerating the evils of Marxism, if you think Stalin and those other guys got communism wrong, but your new...
No one says they got communism wrong, just that they couldn't actualize because of Western influence.
Democratic socialism will get it right. Think again. Marxism leads a society toward a fixed goal, a utopian vision of pure freedom in which...
Wait, why is this bad? Wait, so we shouldn't strive towards freedom? Wait, that's so funny. Sometimes PragerU just says shit and like I don't understand, right? It blows my mind.
Which the individual is liberated from the false consciousness of capitalism. Unfortunately, by Marx's own definition, the path to this utopia requires the destruction, economically, politically, and morally, of every vestige of civilization as we know it. Economically, Marxism seeks to destroy free enterprise, the division of labor, profit and loss, competition, and material wealth.
The one thing it doesn't look to material wealth. No, it just okay.
Politically, it seeks to destroy the rule of law, separation of powers, and freedom of speech. Morally, it seeks to destroy individualism,
good.
religious liberty, and independent thought.
Based.
And on top of this rubble, it builds the all-powerful state ruled by...
Here's that letter. Oh, yeah, okay. Against U.S. aggression for national salvation. On the occasion of the New Year... Yeah, New Year letter. Thank you. I would like to convey to the American people cordial wishes for peace and happiness. This is from Ho Chi Minh, okay? The Vietnamese and American people should have lived in peace and friendship, but the U.S. government has brazenly sent over 400,000 troops, along with thousands of aircraft and hundreds of warships, to wage aggression to Vietnam. Night and day, it has used napalm bombs, toxic gas, fragmentation bombs, and other modern weapons to massacre our people, not sparing even old people, women, and children. It has burnt down or destroyed villages and towns and perpetrated extremely savage crimes. Of late, U.S. aircrafts have repeatedly bombed Hanoi, our beloved capital. Is it because the criminal war unleashed the U.S. government that hundreds of thousands of young Americans have been drafted and sent to a useless death far from their homeland? On the Vietnamese battlefield, and hundreds of thousands of American families, parents have lost their sons, wives, and husbands. Nevertheless, the U.S. government has continually clamored about peace negotiations in an attempt to deceive the American and world peoples. In fact, it is daily expanding the war. The U.S. government wrongly believes that with brutal force it can compel our people to surrender. But the Vietnamese people will never submit. We love peace, but it must be genuine peace and independence with freedom. For independence and freedom, the Vietnamese people are determined to fight the U.S. And they fucking did. Okay? Like, yeah. Ho Chi Minh was base as fuck, dude.
An all-powerful elite. This is why the communist 1%, the true 1%, must use the full power of the state to force the 99%, the true 99%, to become something they are not and do not want to be. And if that doesn't work, the secular philosophy of brotherly love simply intimidates into silence and ultimately liquidates as much of the 99% as is necessary to keep everybody in line. Censorship, secret police, and re-education camps. These are not bugs in an imperfect system. They are features, critical parts of its design. In short, the problem with Marxism has been and always will be Marxism. Too bad the...
Wait a second. What? Huh? Huh? How does that work?
Academic establishment has yet to figure this out. Or even worse, maybe they have. I'm Brad Thompson, professor.
I'm Brad Thompson. And I'm a fucking idiot.